Right. What is going on, everybody? Good morning. Good morning. Let's get this down here. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Real Life Trading Beginners Room. We are live on YouTube as well. All right. Good morning. On Albert, Corey, D, Greg, Joe, John, Matt. Okay. Let's get started here. Let me actually move this screen that I got over here over so we can talk about the markets. Do a little bit of pre-market prep right now. I guess we can start calling this our YouTube live pre-market prep. Let me get my annotation tools up as well. Oh, where do those things go? There we go. Perfection. All right. So just to reiterate, I know there's a lot of things on my chart. Right down here, I have a daily chart. I have a 3-minute chart right here. Here's a 1 minute, and here's a 15-minute. Okay, so I look at multiple time frames all at once. This is what I'm looking at on another screen. I will use TradingView for most things, so we can share our setups and everything much easier than it is to do on Thinkorswim. But yeah, so overnight on the futures, we actually traded down to this 41.30-ish level. And this is where we bounced. So we traded down. We basically did revisit some of the lows from February 24th. We have since bounced. This was probably due to some news. Oh, hang on, let me change that. All right. Yeah. All right. Here we go. Just so you guys don't hear all my beeps and dings that are going on in the broker. Probably due to some news with Ukraine. And then I think right about here, we had some US economic news come in. And so we sold back off. We are, as of right now, on the SPY, we're gapping up very slightly. And that's just because we sold off right into the end of the day on the SPY and the Qs as well. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and take a look at the NASDAQ futures. So NASDAQ futures look very similar. We came down to this 13,100 level, which on the Qs correlate to about 320, I believe. So we came down into this level, and just like the SPY, at the same time bounced, probably on some Ukraine news, and then went sideways, had one little pop higher, and then the economic news, I think, came out around this time. And we sold off on it, I believe. Or this was more Ukraine news, and then we bumped a tiny bit on economic news. Either way, we're choppy. We're not exactly gapping down. Let's see the Qs. Yeah, it's 320 level is that low. So we'll have to see what happens. Qs are down slightly, so they're down a little bit more than the SPY. So if we're going to sell off, we expect that to happen predominantly in tech, being a little bit weaker right now. And that's what the overall market looks like. Hey, Lucian, how's it going? All right. Move this back over here. Let's make sure we have back pulled up. Awesome. Let's look through some of our individual stocks. Roblox looking pretty flat right now. The low of the day is right down here. We are not below that yet. So according to our 10 EMA strategy, we do want to see something gapping either below the low, below the high, in order to trade it in the first 20 minutes of the market. Okay, cool. Got some questions in Slack, and when things slow down a little bit, or when we're waiting for a trade, we can go over them. We got a couple of people in YouTube Live. Hello. We'll be live for another 20 minutes or so. So if you got some questions, I can answer them as well. All right, so Roblox looks like we're going to have to wait 20 minutes as of right now. Let's see what else is going on some other tickers. Here we have AMD. AMD is gapping below the low of yesterday. So if this stays here, we can look for a trade setup in the first 20 minutes. Now, it does mean we can go bullish or bearish, but it being a slight gap down, it is going to be a little bit harder to have a bull move. But let's actually go like this. But one thing about this is because it's relatively flat, we only have a slight gap down, and because we sold off into the close yesterday, having or being able to get above this 10 EMA won't be too arduous of a task if we want to go bullish. So still have to open below, but if we end up starting to bounce, we might be able to take a bullish fade earlier than we expect. All right. Nvidia looks the same as AMD, sold off into the close, just like the indices. A little bit of bounce, a little bit of a selling candle there, or selling candles. And we are projected to gap down below the low. So this will be on the list in the first 20 minutes. All right. If there are other tickers you guys want to look at, start throwing them into the chat pane, and we'll take a look at them. All right, so Delta. So Delta Airlines is not gapping above the high or below the low. See, it's gapping in the middle. It doesn't meet our other criteria, seeing as we had a massive selling candle yesterday. I shorted this one yesterday, and I did not hold my short nearly long enough. I mean, this thing just sold the whole day. It's quite the move. Nearly 12% down just in the market trading. So it's not including the little gap down. So this one just tanked. Even the retests weren't very strong. Couldn't really hold above the 20. So on that 3-minute chart, had a lot of selling yesterday. Expect this one to probably not sell off quite as much if we sell off today, or if we bounce, we could bounce somewhere into yesterday's range. Here's a volume profile. Seems very evenly distributed. So there's not one area where there's massive nodes on this volume profile. So we're just going to have to check out some of these higher nodes as potential resistance if we end up trading higher. Again, as of right now, we'll probably have to wait 20 minutes. to get a trade on this one, but that'll also give it some time to digest and see how things play out. Good morning, Mike. How are you today? Morning, Matt. Sarah, we got some other people hopping in. Welcome. You guys have tickers, questions, throw those into chat beam. I am not going to be trading futures in the morning. I do trade futures occasionally. I don't trade them all the time, but I tend not to trade them during market hours. To me, it's just a little bit easier to trade stock. You don't have to switch around, don't have to deal with different tick sizes, different tick values. So if I want to trade indices, I'll trade SPY or the Qs or an inverse ETF, something like that. Yep. And you know, I won't have the leverage or the other benefits of trading futures, but I'm okay with that. All right, Tesla is trying to gap below the low. Again, this one sold off into the close. We'll see if it is if it ends up being eligible. And take a quick peek on the daily chart. Tesla did break solidly through that 200, so we do have potential to go much lower. Yeah, that's right. Tesla was holding up a little bit better than some of the other things previously. All right, and last but not least on R6 is Apple. I personally don't trade Apple because I have a lot of different positions. Well, not a lot of different positions. I just have different positions in Apple, but this one is again trying to. We'll have to come back and see Apple, Tesla, even Nvidia and AMD. We'll have to really go back and look, make sure everything is still gapping below the low. But as of right now, not quite on Apple. All right. Let's see. We got a request for Oxy. So oil's been on quite the tear, but yesterday we had a massive gap up, and we sold actually most of the day. So quite interesting price action there. We are getting a little bit of a bounce right now. If you are going to trade this, a day trade is the way to go. As for a 10 EMA strategy, you would have to wait probably for the first 20 minutes at least to see if it gets above this high or below this low, which probably, if I had to guess, it goes above the high. And if I were to trade this, I would look to take targets into some of yesterday's pre-market levels. So 63, maybe you could push it up to just before 64. But yeah, I would look to take profit into those upper levels personally. Let's see. Are people just saying good morning, or do they want to look at GM? GM looking kind of like the rest of the market, so probably just good morning. Yeah, all right. Let's see. Paul Osborne says, "What is that graph on the side of your chart?" Question. So this here is a volume profile, and this is the volume profile for yesterday. And as we trade, we will build up this volume profile for today. So what that does is it tells you where the volume comes in, and what price the volume comes in, right? Down here, this is volume by time, right? So we know, okay, in this candle, there was a lot of volume, right? We know in this candle, there was a lot of volume. But this volume profile also tells you where, basically at what price that volume comes in as well. So you can see potentially, we'll just zoom in this area. So potentially, there's more volume in right here and right down here than there was right in this middle section here. Can be useful to know as something will trades back into those areas. You can see that here, again, it held for a little while before eventually breaking down again. But yeah. All right. XOM. Let's take a look. So XOM, I think, having a little bit of the refining business, whatever reason, was lagging a little bit behind some of the other, I think, strict oil producers. It is gapping up today. And take a peek on a daily chart. A lot of bullish candles in a row. I think we just cleared some resistance. Yes, we did. There is still some resistance potentially. I don't know. Oh, that's not an all-time high either. There's going to be some resistance at probably 89 if you scroll back to the left far enough. So it's a retest gap. I wait for a little bit of retest before looking at going long. All right, we got a question about any hope technology goes up. Technology will eventually recover. Right now, it is just an out of favor sector. So it's going to be beaten up. It's probably going to be beaten up harder than anything else in the market because it also benefited the most people in the market. So I do think that our issues get resolved and we will bounce later on this year, but it probably takes the majority of this year to recover. And we probably have a slight gain overall for the year. But after that, we could see much higher valuations in companies again. Question on what's my average holding time? Let's see. Check. We got 10 minutes left. Looking good. Okay. Average holding time. So it depends on type of trade. So with a day trade, my average holding time is somewhere between a few minutes to I have been in a trade for a couple hours. Depends on how I size it. A lot of the 10 EMA trades, I will tell you, if you have this 10 EMA strategy, which if you sign up for a free account with Real Life Trading, that is a free tool that you can add to your dashboard. Yeah, that strategy tends to have quicker moves. So lately, those trades have been rather quick. Let's see here. I guess I'm not signed into chat for the YouTube live, so I guess I can't chat there. But if you're interested, you can go to that link. You can also just go to reallifetrading.com. Doesn't matter to me. Do I scalp? This strategy is more of a scalping strategy. Yep. So 3-minute chart. It's not a 1-minute scalping strategy. I mean, you can use it on the 1 minute, but I don't do that. So for some people, scalping means they're in and out in seconds to minutes. And this strategy, generally, you'll be in the trade anywhere from, I want to say about 7 minutes to maybe 30 minutes or so, maybe an hour at most. All right. Got a request for INDO. Let's go features, INDO. Indonesia Energy Corporation. Interesting. Looks a little bit extended to me. It looks like the volume just picked up when the invasion started happening. So it's probably just oil dominated as a producer. So looks like they're just benefiting from the increased price of oil. If you were going to trade this one, I'd probably use, if you're going to trade it overnight, I'd probably use something with defined risk so that you could limit your loss just in case there is something that happens on the world stage that dramatically lowers the price of oil. There's a lot of different things that could possibly do that. And then you can also benefit if those things don't happen and the price of oil keeps increasing. Intraday, you could probably get a trade off of it. Looks like that there's been some decent volume intraday. It doesn't look the most voluminous because you can see here that there's some gaps in the price action. But, you know, you can still trade it. You have to account for that. All right, we just got a few minutes left. Let's go back through and look at our tickers. Roblox. Looks like we're gonna have to wait 20 minutes, trading up a little bit. AMD trading up a little bit, but still looks like it's going to open below. This one will come down to the open. Same thing with Nvidia. It'll kind of come down right to the open. Delta probably not going to open below the low. Tesla going to be a nail biter on that one as well. May or may not. Tesla can move the dollar pretty quick. Getting a little bit of selling in there right now, so maybe Tesla opens below. Apple not quite opening below either, but everything's, like I said, teetering on that edge. Left. Yeah, not much there. Okay. All right. Albert, we'll get to your question during the market, so I do have an eye on that. Okay, cool. Got some things going on in Slack. think we are pretty much ready. We'll see how things end up opening up. And let's see if, really quickly if there's any other gaps people are looking at. Is ES 4100 the low for this year? I don't believe so. I think we were lower on the 24th overnight. So between the 23rd and 24th of February. Let's see, really quick, we got a request for PayPal. PayPal has just been getting really beat up. I'm honestly not quite sure why. You know, the news about Apple trying to do some of their own payments probably wasn't helpful, but it's been selling off quite a bit. It is below the candle on the 24th. Yeah, I mean, it's going to revisit COVID lows, as crazy as that sounds. Um, but it will take a while for this one to recover. But I mean, PayPal makes money. I think that they're going to recover. Just I have no idea when. In the meantime, trend is bearish. All right, we got only a few more minutes before market opens. I'm going to bid our YouTube audience farewell. Thank you for joining us. And if you like to watch us do this all day, or at least for 5 hours every day, 6 hours actually, if you include the swing room, then you can join us at reallifetrading.com. And there's plenty of free content, free courses, blog articles, YouTube videos. So even if you don't want to join anything, any premium membership stuff, there's plenty of free stuff for you. So, yep. Yep. Hit the like button, guys, and have fun. And